Hi, it's Sunday, April 29th. It's been a while since I last updated y'all because I didn't have much information, but finally got to see an oncologist on Friday. First doctor I've seen since March 28th. It was a very long month waiting to get into that appointment. Sorry, my cheat sheet fell off. Stuff I want to talk about. It was a long month waiting for that appointment. I did a lot of research in that month on breastcancer.org, which is a great place to go if you want information if you're dealing with someone who has breast cancer. Highly recommend it. Good boards, good forums, good information. Anyway, went to the doctor at Cedars-Sinai to see the oncologist and hopefully start to form a treatment plan. It's kind of scary in the days going up to that because finally seeing the doctor made this all real. Not that it hasn't been real, but over the last, since I was diagnosed March 9th, it's been kind of easy to say, oh, you know, I have breast cancer. But since there's been no treatment or anything going on, it's felt very surreal. It hasn't felt like it is something that is really happening. But as I got closer to the day of the appointment, it suddenly got very real. And it suddenly really started to hit me that, you know, this is real. It's not something to fool around with. So went to the doctors. Doctors, I say, because there were literally two of them. Dr. Dang and Dr. Lin, two very lovely Asian women who, very comforting bedside manner, very clear, very concise, but yet had sort of a nice, levity isn't the word I want to use, but a lightness to them. So they dealt very clearly with it. Okay, you have breast cancer, let's move on, let's see what we can do. They had, through everything that I read, they recommended that you bring somebody to the appointment with you. So Mark very graciously came with me. For those of you who read my written blog, Mark is the filmmaker. We've been dating for a while. Been not terribly serious, so going through all of this with him is a little scary for me. So I'm sure it's scary for him, but he's been incredible. So he came to the appointment with me. I was glad he did because he's very pragmatic and he's very straightforward, and I knew if there were questions that I didn't think to ask, he would ask. And he was very patient, drove me there, waited. The whole appointment took about 3 hours because they had to do an examination again of the breast and the lymph node under my arm that is swollen. And then because of the lymph node under my arm that's swollen, they also wanted to biopsy it to confirm that there's cancer there. So what it comes down to is I believe I'm stage 2A breast cancer, which means there's cancer in my breast, my left breast, which is a tumor under 2 centimeters in size, and there's a secondary tumor that's 4 millimeters in size. And then there's this lymph node under my arm that is 4 centimeters in size. They're pretty certain that there is cancer in the lymph node, so that makes it a different grade of cancer, a little more serious, because it means that the cancer has gone out of the breast ducts and into another part of my body. Treatment was no big surprise. What they said, I have a choice between a lumpectomy and a mastectomy. And because there's no history of cancer in my family until now, and taking all the other risk factors into consideration, I'm going to opt for a lumpectomy, and then what they call an axillary lymph node removal, which means they'll take the tumors out of my breast, and then they will take out 2/3 of the lymph nodes in my armpit. Sounded like a lot, big scary number. Mark was great because he asked about the importance of that, because lymph nodes are what filter your system and keep infections down. So I was really glad that he jumped in and said, well, doesn't she need those? The doctors said, no, there's tons of them in your body, you're fine without them. So the next step now is Thursday I go in for full body scans, bone scans, CT scan with contrast to make sure that other than the lymph nodes in my armpit, that the cancer hasn't spread anywhere else in my body, including the bones. They seemed very optimistic that that's not going to be a problem, but they want to run the test anyway. So If all goes fine and that's all clear, then the next step will be scheduling surgery to do the lumpectomy and remove the lymph nodes. Then a month after that, I'll start chemotherapy, and they said 4 to 6 rounds of chemotherapy, and I did a little research on that. Rounds of chemotherapy run 2 to 3 weeks. You go at the beginning of the cycle, get the drugs injected into you in all kinds of wonderful ways, and then you basically sit with the drugs for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you start another cycle. So it could be 3 to 6 months of chemotherapy. I didn't expect this to get to me. I'll probably lose my hair, which I've never been that vain about my hair, but for some reason, the idea of losing it unintentional, well, with no control, a little unnerving. So at some point, I'll probably just shave it all off, because why not? If I'm going to lose it, I might as well be in control of it. And then there'll be a month of radiation, 6 weeks of radiation after that. So that's the next 3 to 6 months of my life is going to be all about this treatment. It's very scary, but on the other hand, at least once I get through that, hopefully I'll be free and clear. It'll be done with. The blessing in all of this is the great people that I have in my life. I went to a place called We Spark, which is a cancer support center here in Los Angeles. Really great bunch of people, offer a bunch of stuff. I'll talk about that another time. But the intake person who brings you in and talks to you about what services you need is the same woman who was my counselor when my marriage was ending and my therapist after my marriage ended. So she knows me really well. And I was telling her about my life since my marriage ended, and about teaching, and about the people I have in my life, and about, dating someone for the first time in 7 years, and that I was lucky enough to find this really beautiful man. And she said, what's going to help me get through the treatment is the fact that the rest of my life is pretty awesome, and that will make it a lot easier, because I'm not going to be fighting my life while I'm fighting cancer. And that couldn't be more evident. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to get this emotional. Couldn't be more evident than the last things that have gone on the last few days. A woman I don't know very well, a friend, colleague, artist, beautiful artist, is going to put together a fundraising campaign to try to help me pay my bills while I go through treatment, because it's going to be really hard. So if you see an email from Allegra Newman, please respond. She's just going to send you information of how you can help out. And then, of course, Anna and Zadra have been amazing. Everybody's been just amazing with phone calls and support. Mark has been fantastic. Going to the doctor with me, which is above and beyond. We were talking after we left the doctor appointment. We stopped to have some food to eat on the way to. He had a film in a festival that day. So the fact that he actually took time out of his day to go to the doctor with me was amazing, with this festival hanging over him. So we went to the festival, we stopped and had some food on the way, and we were talking about the appointment and the doctors and all of that. And he dubbed my doctors the Hello Kitty doctors, because they look like a couple of girls that should be doing cosplay at Comic-Con, as opposed to being oncologists and talking about surgery and stuff like that. So that made me laugh a lot, my Hello Kitty doctors. And then he just, the rest of the day was awesome. We went and saw his film, Meter Men, which you can check out on metermen.tv, I believe. It's a web series that he directed and helped create. Screening went great. And then we went to have dinner, and he treated me to the Edison, which, if you don't know the Edison, it's this beautiful steampunk bar restaurant. And he knew I would love it, and we went and had just an amazing, very special time there, and he showed me all around it. What a beautiful place. And we had champagne and fabulous food, and really just took a day that could have been really difficult and mind-numbing, and made it very special. So I really appreciate that. And he treated me like normal, which is really all I can ask, is just treat me like normal. I'm happy to talk about my treatment and stuff like that, but I don't want my whole life to become about my left breast. Be the title of my autobiography, Susan's Left Breast. Anyway, it turned out to be a really beautiful day in the long run, just by the simplicity of him treating me like he always treats me, which is great. So that's that. I have a little list here that I'm looking down. So the next step is I get some tests this week. Then I go back in and see the Hello Kitty doctors and talk to them about surgery and plan that. All of that being said, seriously thinking about my life in the next 6 months. I may have to take a semester off school. It's just going to kill me. But I don't know how I'm going to manage. I can barely manage my homework and everything right now, and I'm not even in treatment, just juggling doctor's appointments and the emotional weight that goes with this, and the physical. I'm already exhausted just from having cancer, and I can't imagine trying to go through chemotherapy and everything and keeping up my life, and 4 classes again, so I have to think about that, but I might have to bow out of school for a semester, deal with that. Anyway, I think that's everything. Doctor visit, diagnosis, test, surgery, Hello Kitty docs, Edison School. Okay, so if you want to check out my blog, diaryofaMidlifeCrisis.blogspot.com, there's a lot more updates there. It's easier for me to write than it is to sit, and I didn't want to go on for 12 minutes, but apparently I'm going to. Excuse me. So, diaryofaMidlifeCrisis.blogspot.com for more updates and other things going on in my life. You can also check out, like I said, breastcancer.org if you know someone going through breast cancer. Highly recommend that you go there. There's support for caregivers and for partners and for friends. The other organization is WeSpark.org, which is a great cancer resource center here in LA, not just breast cancer. And they have programs for men going through prostate cancer, whatever else they're going through. And I will update you later in the week once I have some more information. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.